It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Absolutely. Oh boy. Now it's telling me that I'm out of storage, so just hang on here. I guess this isn't going to be oh well, whatever. Frig. Out of storage, I'm out of storage. I just won't be able to get clips later. These things happen. Oh well, we always run into issues here and there, right? Welcome back, folks. If you're just tuning in, you're going to be wondering what the heck's he talking about. Uh, I had I was doing a video, and of course I was showing NHL clips, so YouTube stopped it altogether. I was doing it live, and no, you can't do that. Even though I was offering commentary through it, and it's fair use, and I'll have to fight it because they'll say ineligible for because of copyright issues, and I've actually fought it twice before and ended up winning. Um, the last one was with a college, and one specific college. It was McKenna's, Penn State, and what the hell, the only college one I've ever had flagged. And even after I explained that I was doing commentary, former NHL scout, the whole works, it still got friggin' flagged. Or they were still going to fight it. And then I sent another one and said, it's probably not a good idea for you to be, because I will friggin', I've got 23,000 followers on Twitter, and I will not be a happy camper if you continue to flag this. They ended up not fighting it any further, and I got my money, but it's a hassle, You got to wait a month for them not to dispute what you're saying. And anyway, I'll people did donate some money, and thank you very much. And they better not keep that from coming to me, or I won't be very happy. So I'll fight it, and I'll win, and eventually that money will end up in my hands, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is algorithms and it's automatic, but you know, if you do commentary throughout video, it will, it's considered fair use, and they can't really fight it. So, um, anyway, I don't want that money not, going right to YouTube because they don't deserve it. I will definitely fight it, and I'm sure I'll end up getting your contributions. So thank you to the people that did. Mr. Gianta won. That's a fairly new. I haven't seen too many posts from him. I think maybe a couple, but somebody that doesn't post a lot on here is supporting, giving me some support, and a nice amount too. 549. Thank you very much, Mr. Gianta. Brian, I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's pretty cool. And please don't just donate. Give us your thoughts and let us know. Hey, there we go. Thank you for all your hard work. Good stuff. People have been so kind since I only started this up in September, and the growth has been fantastic. So glad to see people coming back here. We're up to 38 already tuning in. Apologies for the the delay. Certainly wasn't on my end, but I should have known better. I that they would end up flagging it and stopping the video altogether, because perish the thought I had a few highlights of an NHL player. But for those of you tuning in now that didn't see the first bit, the player in question is Michael McCarron. I'll just quickly go over some of the reasons quickly again here. He averages 230 a game killing penalties, which would be the most of any. Like, there are no Habs forwards averaging that much. Nashville is 13th, or tied for 12th actually, in penalty killing percentage, and he's the main penalty killer up front. So he's really doing a good job killing penalties. So he could do the same thing in Montreal. I think what I would do is offer Jake Evans in return. Evans has 2 years left. McCarron becomes a free agent after this year. And if he does well in Montreal, if he ever ends up back here, maybe they could re-sign him or look at it, But so in that regard, I think Nashville might be interested in that kind of a deal. They're out of the playoffs right now in the West. Even if they do make the playoffs, realistically, they got to go through Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, others, Vegas. They're probably not. I don't think Barry Trotz is be saying, well, like, they're not going to be buyers at the deadline. And if you traded Evans for McCarron, it's not like really a downgrade for them. Like, they get more points from Evans, not many, but a few more points than McCarron. But on the other hand, Montreal doesn't need scoring. They've got lots of it. What they need is a big physical presence at center in their bottom six, and they would get that with McCarron. Evans would provide more offense for Nashville, a team that needs it. Like, they don't have much offense beyond a couple of key guys, like their first 3 or 4 forwards, and then they've got a dearth. Montreal, different story. So I don't know if this is something that the Canadians would be considering. But having looked at McCarron, by the way, 54% on faceoffs, or in his time in Nashville, 54.2, and Deneau actually had a lower faceoff success rate in LA than McCarron has in Nashville, since both were traded from Montreal back in the day. So he's just as good on faceoffs as Evans or Deneau, actually better than Evans. And all 4 Montreal centers combined have fewer hits than McCarron this year. He's got 134. He's second among all NHL centers in hits. And if you saw the video, you were tuning in earlier, and these are hard hits. The man can really schmack. He's got to be 240 pounds, probably 6'6". His skating has improved immeasurably since he was with the Canadians. He's he keeps up just fine, and good on the forecheck. The only time the Canadians have reached the final since 1993, when they won the Cup, their fourth line was 6'4" Eric Stahl at center, Armia and Corey Perry on the wings. None of them had a half a point a game in the playoffs, but they were arguably Montreal's best line because they kept the puck in the offensive zone with heavy forecheck, with their size, with their strength, cycling the puck. Montreal needs a line like that if they want to have any success down the stretch here and in the playoffs. They need to add physicality, size, heaviness. Michael McCarron would do that in spades. You try looking at third and fourth lines, and there's no ideal. With Evans and Deneau, who are kind of redundant, I think, there's no combination that you can have with trios that brings the size and physical nature that I think you need on at least one of your bottom 2 lines. Like, you can put Blais and Anderson together, but with Evans, like, it's not overall, that's not a physical line. They're just not the right combination, I don't think. Like, but if you had McCarron, Blais, and Anderson as your fourth line, that could be a very effective line, especially at playoff time. And that's what I think the Canadians, that's the aim, is to make the playoffs, is to do some damage in the playoffs this year. And I envision that being a very effective fourth line. And also, McCarron hasn't got a pile of points in the last couple of years, but to his defense too, he plays with like Cole Smith is like his regular winger. If you had him with Josh Anderson, I think not that they get a pile of points, but I certainly think that he could provide more offense than he has playing with Cole Smith the last couple of years. Like Cole Smith never scored 27 goals in an NHL season like Anderson, and they'd be so heavy on the forecheck. I could just see it really, being effective. Cole Smith, yeah, 12 points last year, 7 this year. His high for goal scoring in an NHL season is 9, right? Well, Josh Anderson, has had plenty of seasons over 9 goals. So McCarron, I think his point totals will go up on a line with Anderson and Blais or Bolduc or whoever you want on the other side. I think it could be really, really effective, physical, a Vegas type line, like fourth line that was a huge part of them having playoff success, I thought, in the past, was just that heavy fourth line with Reeves, Nick Waugh, and Colasar. They just pound and soften up NHL defenses for the big lines, right? Because there's 4 forward lines, 3 defense pairings. They're going out against a defense pairing every shift that's also goes up against top lines on occasion. Like it's just there's not 4 defense pairings and 4 forward lines. It's 3 and 4. So Montreal, well, hey, we saw it against Buffalo, right? That they just didn't have they did not have the, oh, just got a notice from YouTube. Live stream copyright notice. Yeah, well, I'll be fighting that, boys. Sheldon, I'm late. Grandson had a hockey game. Thank you for the toonie. I really appreciate it. But give me your thoughts on McCarron. I know a lot of people disliked McCarron back in the day because he was the first round pick and he wasn't, everyone would call him a bust and this and that. You go back and look at that draft class, and it's a great example of why you don't judge a draft in the first 5 years. You look back on it later. Very few players picked between 20 and 55, if I recall correctly. Was Lehkonen like 55 or 56? Between 18 and Artie Lehkonen, count the number of guys that are still playing in the NHL. McCarron's one of the few. So in the long run, if the Canadians had been patient with him, he would have ended up being a good pick at 25. But Habs fans are impatient. They judge draft picks early, like within a year usually. They start to whine and moan if that player's not already playing in the NHL. If you're a first-round pick of the Montreal Canadiens, you're expected to be starring in the NHL within 2 years. But yeah, that was not a good draft class. And as time has shown, Michael McCarron was one of the best picks after, I think it was 18. Like there were a lot of guys that busted. The Habs even traded for a couple of couple of them later, I think, and they, Bergevin should have just kept friggin' McCarron, but ended up trading them for Laurent Dauphin, who, hey, gets to play in the All-Star game in the AHL this year. I guess that's one good thing. But yeah, Mirko Mueller, Kirby Reichel. There was one Reichel. So they trade McCarron and then pick up Reichel, who, where's Kirby Reichel today, right? Mantha, well, he's playing. Gauthier, he's gone. Emile Poirier, bust. Burakovsky, pretty much. Hunter Shinkaruk, remember him? Shinkaruk, right? Shea Theodore was right after McCarron, so there you go. You can always, if you want to point to one player, right, that they could have taken instead of him. Marco Dano, Morgan Klimchuk, Ian McCoshen, Chris Bigra, Adam Erne, who's borderline, Jacob Delarose, Zach Foucali, Valentin Zikov, and I remember back on HF boards back in the day, it was, why did they not draft Valentin Zikov? Because in his first 4 years, he played a few games in the NHL, and McCarron was still in the AHL at the time. Well, because McCarron's 6'6", and these guys take time. They always do. Remy Eli, Robert Hagg, Steve Santini, Nick Petan, Nick Sorensen, Gustav Olofsson, have fans to remember, Tommy Vanelli, Zach Nastasiuk, Gabriel Boudreau, Dylan Hetherington, Carl Dahlstrom, Justin Bailey. Where are they now? Oh, and even Madison Bowie. So it's funny, a few of those guys ended up playing in the Habs organization, but none came close to playing in the NHL. But Hasuna, 82, $4.99. Thank you very much, Hasuna, for the contribution. I feel like what would put the Habs over the top in the playoffs would be goaltending, trade for Bobrovsky, pending UFA Florida might not make the dance. Oh, I don't think the two-time defending. Thanks for the. I don't think the two-time defending Stanley Cup champs are going to trade the goalie that helped take them to that. They'll be, don't forget they're getting back Barkov and Kachuk. I'd be surprised if Florida doesn't sneak into the playoffs here, maybe even at the Habs success, but if they don't do something. But yeah, you're dreaming, but hey, it doesn't hurt to dream, right? Yeah, keep the questions coming here, folks. I think Chris Stevenson's going to join me at 3:30 from TSN 1200. We'll tee up the match tonight against Ottawa. He'll join me for 20, 25 minutes. So hang tight, and it'll be fun talking to Chris. Haven't had him on for a while. He does pre-game and post-game shows on TSN 1200. Awful ruckus upstairs. I don't know. We've got a Cocker Spaniel who's quiet, and not what you hear there is the Yorkie. The funny how the little ones are always the barkiest, eh? He may not have the foot speed. You know what? It's surprising. His foot speed's not bad. It's really not bad. His height provides much bigger strides than average right. Doesn't need top speed to get in position. It's deceptive in his covering ground. Exactly. Are there hot and heavy Rasmus Anderson trade rumors? I haven't been following that soap opera, but yeah, he's as good as gone, I think, from the Flames. I just hope Detroit doesn't land them. Heard they were interested. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. By the way, I mean, if people are looking on social media and stuff, from what I gather, Evans is back tonight. I hoped it would be Doc, but Jake Evans probably back tonight. Montembeault starting. Have there been any updates on that? But as far as what I know, that's the two changes. I would think it probably means Veleno would sit tonight. Beck got sent back to the minors yesterday. Played last night against Manitoba, lost in a shootout. It'll be probably Blais or Veleno out of the lineup tonight. Don't think it'll be Gallagher. Give us your predictions on tonight. The analyst has the Habs winning 4-3. There you go. Simon asked the question, Habs win tonight? Well, geez, we better hope so, right? We're not going to get this podcast hit by a copyright. So if you, don't be hesitant about making a donation if you're worried about that. This one won't be copyrighted, and I'm going to fight the other one. I like a lot from Veleno, but even your worst forward should project to 20 points a year. Yeah, well, check out Montreal's fourth lines, Francois, over the past 20 years. And at least two of the three fourth liners have not averaged 20 points a year. If you're contributing in other ways, it's not necessarily a must that your fourth liner. It's keep the puck, don't have a huge goal differential going one way or the other, I think is the key, right? Mr. Gianta, thanks for all your hard work. Well, thank you for joining us and contributing. I really appreciate the donation, Mr. G. Plays die on Veleno's stick. Now, who said that the first time, eh? Actually, Sheldon, you were right on time. Yeah, see? Delayed it. Even Mark was on time twice. Unbelievable. Hey, Mark? Be late for your funeral there, buddy. I nailed it. Yes, you did. Ronnie Williamson. I think Evans from McCarron would be a good move. Yeah, and I'm doing this on PlayStation, right? So, Hasuna didn't think that was a good idea, but then he donated $4.99. So I guess my explanation mustn't have been too bad. So what are your thoughts on who sits out tonight, folks? Are you leaning towards it being Veleno? Probably. Simon LeBlanc, 5-2 Habs. Yeah, that'd be okay. I wonder if Gooley moves up. Wasn't crazy about Carrier's last game. He had been playing well for a while, but if I had my preference of who gets more ice time, when Gooley's got his legs back and he's competing, I would think I would lean towards Gooley ahead of Carrier, obviously. Um, I hope. I hope the. I just have to text Chris to see if he's coming. 3:30. He said he could probably make it. Oh, see, some people are saying Blay will be out. Thanks for the new podcast, Grant. Way to go. Yeah, we got her. I just used the same info as the last one and said part 2. It's too bad the numbers were good on the other one. But we already have 72. 25 minutes in, we've got 72 on YouTube here. 450 altogether watching, so not too bad. Pass the time a bit before the big Buffalo Bills match. Who's watching and who you got? I'm cheering for the Bills. Nashville just kicked the crap out of Colorado. Hopefully does not change a thing. Yeah. Yep. They that's twice now they've beaten them. More points, less muscle, but Nashville has plenty of muscle. Well, exactly. And they also have, like, coming up, Igor Surin, who is all grit, an all grit center. Brady Martin, same deal, just full of grit. So it's not like they don't have centers coming up that can replace the grit that McCarron adds. So I could see them, I'd offer something like that, and I'd even throw in a little extra if need be, because I really think he's an upgrade on McCarron, on Evans. Sorry. Yeah. Wolfie, of course, who always quite often disagrees, says, I strongly disagree because McDavid, they shut down McDavid. Yeah, well, if they switched, if they're in the West Conference, Wolfie, okay, fine, but not going to be facing McDavid, are they, in the playoffs? And, not living in the past either. Jake Evans has not been, since he signed his contract, I'm sorry, not played very well this year. Montreal was 27th in penalty killing when he left the lineup, and now they're 20th, since Veleno is killing penalties better than Jake Evans was earlier in the year. Now, yeah, that's one guy, and believe me, you can't. Not one person shuts down Connor McDavid. It's a team effort. Like, that's not really fair to the other players that were out, and the goaltending, right? Montreal's got good goaltending against Edmonton. Like, if the goalie had been Siv playing against Edmonton, Evans wouldn't have been shutting them down. And the defense pairings, they always put out certain guys against Connor McDavid, and they've been excellent against him too. So I would not, to say, well, it's just Evans. You think McDavid's not all over the friggin' ice? You got to cover him. 5 guys got to cover Connor McDavid, not just a center. Yeah. And, yeah, center for center. And also it frees up $2 million in cap space, which is going to be important going down the stretch here. I mean, you could, Jake Evans has been a good soldier, a good warrior. He just signed a new deal, but they really need an upgrade in physicality in the bottom two if they want to do anything at playoff time. I really believe that. And for me, McCarron is, well, a huge upgrade in that regard. All the forwards would play bigger. Well, that's the other thing, Mark. Like, tell me Josh Anderson wouldn't lick his chops playing beside Mike McCarron. You know, Sammy Blais and Mike McCarron and Josh Anderson, the three of them would be like a wrecking crew. I really think that would be just a formidable trio. I've been surprised. Most people are seem to be on board with this suggestion. Good. Well, hopefully my reasonings, made sense for a lot of people. But I wouldn't mind trading Evans for a bigger center. Yeah. Well. And like Pierre, like I just said, but Pierre had said before that they'd save 1.9 million. Yes, and he's even a little better on faceoffs, and this year at least he's been better penalty killing than Evans. McCarron, like when I watch these clips, I wish I could show them again, but YouTube would say no. Like he covers with his stick and he deflects a lot of pucks and a lot of passes and stuff, gets a stick on him, but he covers passing lanes. His stick is so friggin' long. Really effective out there on the PK. Really is. It would allow the Habs to play bigger. Yes, it would. Definitely. Jack and McCarron on the ice with Anderson might be something special. Yeah. Yep. McCarron, Anderson, and Blais. Sign me up. Teams would think twice before taking liberties. Yeah, well, that he can handle himself too. If anyone that saw the first video, McCarron's a pretty he's strong, big and strong, and can handle himself, no doubt. Love, Liam, and your take on the Habs needing more physicality. It's a good point. Adding size is what we need for the playoffs. Yeah. We are too small, not size-wise, but tough-wise. Yeah. McCarron's tough. As I noted, he's second. He's got the second most hits among all NHL centers this year. And that's playing 14 minutes a game too, right? So hits per 60, I'd be surprised if there's any centers that throw more hits per 60 than Michael McCarron. And the good thing about McCarron, when he hits a guy, he hits him. So he would wear down NHL defenses. And as I noted earlier, there's 3 defense pairings and 4 forward lines, right? So you're not just wearing down a defenseman that'll only be out against the 4th line. It's defensemen that will be playing against all lines. So wear them down, get them maybe making that pass a little quicker the next time that Caulfield's coming in and forechecking, and the defenseman thinking, oh, this could be that friggin' McCarron guy again. I better dump this off quick, and whoop, turnover, pass to Caulfield, goal. Like little things like that, right? Maybe we could even be the aggressor sometimes too and go after foes like Washington. They deserve a lot of payback. Yeah, for sure. Blais, McCarron, Anderson would be a bashing line for sure, and the points would come. Well, at the very least, they'd be heavy on the forecheck, heavy on the cycle, keep pucks in the offensive zone, right? And with Montreal's defense too, being one of the best offensive defenses, I think that line could get points. And as I was saying, McCarron, doesn't have a lot of points, but his winger for 2 years, um, it would be an upgrade on Cole Smith, who's been his winger the last 2 years, in having Josh Anderson on his wing. 2 years ago with Nashville, by the way, McCarron had 12 goals, and while so he can score, depending on who his line mates are, right? He wasn't line mates with Cole Smith 2 years ago, so that's one of the reasons. But Jake Evans' career high for goals is 13, so it's not a huge difference in points or goals per se. This year, McCarron's only got a couple so far, but Evans had only scored 5 too. I think playing with Anderson and Blais, and then with Montreal's defense, that they could generate some offense, but the main thing would be just hit. And also, I mean, maybe even Jackeye gets called up. Anderson, Jackeye, McCarron? I wouldn't mind that line either, boy. A Cherry's a possibility, but Pittsburgh, we'll see. Pittsburgh, I think, has a better chance of making the playoffs and doing something in playoff, perhaps. Well, maybe not a better chance of making the playoffs, but if they do, doing something. Okay, good. Chris is going to join us from the rink, so that's kind of cool. So we will get Chris Stevenson, CJ, on here shortly, and tee up. We'll set the table for tonight's game. Wear them down and create turnovers. Well, exactly. Scare them. No more liberties on Demidov and Hudson. Yes. Secretage Jetman. Test. All good. Don't be afraid to thanks for joining HabsCast there. Feel free, Suffering Secretage. Feel free to join in on the discussion. Could the Habs reach the physicality threshold with another nuclear deterrent like Jackeye? Nuclear deterrent? Or does the team need more physicality spread throughout the lineup, top down? Which Jackeye are you talking about there? Yeah. Well, as being mentioned here, like, teams have taken liberties with Montreal smaller players, and Jackeye doesn't play a whole hell of a lot, right? I think you need another option, a guy that will protect, a guy that will, and McCarron would be that. Like, Josh doesn't drop the gloves too often. It's maybe a couple, 2-3 times a year, right? Nice to have another body there. Does he play the entire game or take shifts off, Grant? McCarron is go. Like, he throws a hit behind the net and he's on his high horse heading back the other way. He's got a really good motor. He's competitive. Like, I don't see him taking shifts off. No, he doesn't. He's very energetic and poetic justice, bring McCarron back, you make him even better, then you sign him for a couple of years really cheap. Well, they could. And you know what? Before this podcast, I sent a message to Trevor Timmons and said, I'm doing a podcast saying a player, and said you probably get a kick out of it. It's a player that the Canadians should pick up at the trade deadline. You probably get a kick out of it. And his response was, somebody I drafted? And I said, yep. And he said, McCarron. I said, yep. It's pretty interesting. I don't understand how some podcasts show NHL clips all the time. Well, yeah. Well, they don't either they don't get monetized or they have to fight it each and every time. It's a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. You can show a clip. Well, yeah, if it's like under 6 seconds and such, yeah. McCarron had a long career, sums it up right there. Yeah. Can we hope Florian Jacky to develop into a McCarron eventually? Different? Well, he's not nearly as big as McCarron, but yeah, we could hope that. Does anyone remember Jeff Brubaker for his rambunctious style of play? Scotty Bowman does. Brubaker, former Peterborough Pete. He was a tough cookie. I remember, built like a brick shit house, that guy. Brubaker was tough. He played in the OHL, and in his day he was one of the tough guys. I think Rory Cava, was it Cava that he'd go up against? And they had some, like I was an Ottawa 67s fan, so just out of curiosity, I'm wondering, would have been the late 70s with Brubaker that he played in the O. Tough cookie. Him and Domi were formidable on the Pete's. 76, 77, 77, 78, yeah. Had a cup of coffee with the Habs, played 3 games, 32 minutes and penalties. He played like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Played 178 games in the NHL for 7 different teams. Yeah. Brubaker. I think he'd go up against Eddie Hospodar, if I recall correctly. They had some battles back in the day when Boxcar Hospodar played for the 67s. But I think, Brubaker was like the toughest cookie in the league. And Rory Cava was the other guy that the 67s had. And they'd go up against Brubaker. Hellebuck. Okay, now you're just getting crazy. Mind your tongue, Grant. We're making the playoffs. Yeah, I have to trade for McCarron. We are. Bob gave 9 goals yesterday. Good timing for the Habs. Oh, jeez. Monty's playing better than Bob right now. What do you think comes out for Evans, Grant? Mark and I have Veleno. Yeah, probably Veleno, I would think. I don't think the Canadians are making a move in nets. Monty was top 3 in saves above expected last year. If he's back on his game, that'll more than do come playoff time. That's what they're banking on. Hey, yesterday they had 3 goalies. 2 days ago they had 3 goalies. Now you want to trade for another? I don't know. Forsberg. Well, why would Nashville trade Forsberg? Like you gotta remember, you gotta think of the other team, right? And it would cost you all sorts of assets. McCarron won't cost you a lot. It's going to be an UFA. Nashville's not trading for their best player. He's still in his prime. Yeah, Evans is playing tonight. That thrills me. Frick, I wish the hell Doc could get back in. Doc was supposed to be back 2 weeks ago. No word on Evans, and then frickin' Evans even gets in before Doc. Not excited. Not excited. Hopefully Papanicus develops into a big center in a few years. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Eventually, he probably the guy in there, but I think they need a placeholder. Like they drafted one, but in the meantime, you need one, right? Blade played 7:29 last game. If I'm not wrong, Gooley and Evans both only needed 2 practices with the regular full contact. High chance Doc and Laine will be ready for next match. Well, I hope so. Whatever happened to Anthony Esposito? Oh, man. I remember in his draft year. And at the time, like you didn't have you weren't able to watch all the freaking games on video. I'd get videos sent to me on CD. I'd request them and get them sent from teams and stuff. Eastlink would send me games, and so you'd watch a few games and you'd get the odd one and get to see Esposito live now and then playing in Hull and stuff. And his draft year, frig. List had him first overall right up until January. But by January, I was with McKean's hockey. And it was just, oh my goodness. And this was my first year that I did a draft guide. I started up a draft guide, actually printed and sold copies. I designed, printed, edited, did all the rankings, did everything for this draft guide for McKean's. And that was my first year with McKean's, the Espo draft. But, we kept watching Kane. It's like Voracek, and I think Turris. Was that the Turris draft too? Anyway, but Kane especially, it's like, holy frig. I know a winger, a 5'9" winger's never been taken first overall, but this guy's better than Esposito. And we finally just said, after Kane's World Junior, where he was fantastic, said, you know what? This guy's got to be number one. And we were the first. We put out rankings, dropping Esposito a fair bit, and had, Voracek and Turris. And was it Van Riemsdyk? But Kane number one. And it was like, holy frig. The uproar at the time, because it was all just like with the Wright draft, just like with the Nolan Patrick draft. You have that consensus number one for 2 years, and when it gets to their draft year and they're underperforming, there's still that thought that they're the number one because they'd been consensus number one for 2 years. And so it takes a while to get people's minds changed on that. And eventually people came around because Kane put up just fantastic numbers as a rookie in the OHL for London, and was great at the World Juniors, the whole works, and you just couldn't not have him first overall. But Espo, even up till draft, people were saying like, "Oh, he's still top 10, top 5, top 5." I remember him dropping on draft day, dropping. Pittsburgh finally took him early 20s, I think it was, and even then it was way too high, as it turned out, because he just didn't have this, and it's too bad because he'd scored like 100 points at 16, but another example of a guy that reached his physical peak at 15, 16. Then other guys caught up. Other guys kept training. Other guys worked hard. Espo didn't. And the rest was history. Alexei Lafreniere, a little bit like that too. Shane Wright. Habs won 31-48. Try to come up with unique names if you can, folks, so that there's several that are Habs number, whatever. I can't, it's hard to differentiate between them, but so that I know, you know what I mean? Because you're going to probably, thank you for the donation, by the way, but if you can come up with a more unique, people that use just Habs, it kind of, oh, you were Mr. Gianta. Changed my name finally because I made my old one in high school years. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll try to remember that you're Mr. Gianta. Thanks for another donation, by the way. We are going to need Blay tonight. I hope he's in the lineup. Yeah. Veleno probably comes out because center for center, right? Like Veleno had been taking his place, and Evans can take his place center on the PK, all that stuff. So, yeah, if I were a betting man, I would think it'll be Blay that stays in. I think they need his, although Veleno has been hitting too. It's like the two of them are the most, I wish they were both still in the lineup, but that's not going to happen. And you know who out, but that won't be happening. Ed Tamboni. He drives a Zamboni. Slav is better playing left wing on kid line, but first line misses his size. Bordwick passing. Why not put Slav on left side with Nick? Put Cole with Cappy, Demidov. Could I see them adding McCarron and another? Yeah, that's possible. Someone who they want in the lineup. Like, it doesn't seem like they're still sold on Blay, right? Being a regular, so maybe better version of Blay. Yeah, getting rid of McCarron in the beginning was a mistake. Yeah. Yep. I agree. When they traded him for Laurent Dauphin, I was not happy. The Malachi crunch line. They've needed a big fourth line center ever since. Wolfie, you're saying that, but how do you know? Anyway, and why are you focused on, a guy that you would never meet till the NHL finals anyway, and a damn good chance that they won't be playing Edmonton anyway? Like, you don't pick up a player to shut down a guy that you're never going to face. I don't think they'll play Edmonton the rest of the year, let alone in the playoffs. Cooley is 23. Yeah, folks, you gotta. Will Cooley's not going anywhere. They put out their thing saying, yeah, da 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 da, but that's to get rid of Panarin. That's to get rid of maybe JT Miller. That's to get rid of this guy, that guy. They're rebuilding, so you trade your best player under 24? No, you don't. Cooley's not going anywhere, folks. I wish he was, but no. Hartley talked about CERN the other day and really likes him. Yeah. I don't know. Any Bob Hartley, I don't necessarily take what his opinions as gospel on things, if you know what I'm getting at. Would be wise for the Canadiens to make a move on Lafreniere? No, it would not be wise. It would be unwise. Fowler gets a start for the Rocket, which is just starting. Okay. Good scheduling there, folks. Put it up against the wild card game. Rangers call a rebuild. Next day they lead 6-2. Well, all of a sudden guys are going, oh, I got to showcase myself here to get out of this hellhole. Let me guess. Panarin has a couple points. Buffalo. Yes, Buffalo. Denver 30-23. Boo. Cycle the puck down low and wear down the other team for the fourth line. Exactly. Jackeye be moved up. Joseph Acher? That's a new name. Thanks for contributing, Joseph. Yeah, that has been discussed before. Arbor, Anderson, McCarron, fourth line. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of that. Oh, there he is. All right. Well, looks like CJ has made it. Good day, sir.
Hey, how are you?
Not so bad.
Good.
Looking dapper.
Thanks. Just got to the rink and looking forward to this one. It should be fun.
Yeah. What's any lineup changes for the Sens tonight?
It didn't look like it. I stuck around to see who was skating after their optional this morning, and it looked like Matt and Paolo and McDermott were skating, and who was it? It was Reimer and Ulmerk working with the goalie coach. So sounds like no changes, and I'm going to guess Merrillainen should start in goal.
Oh, okay. So no Allmerk yet, hey?
No, he was out there, like I said, working with the goalie coach. If I'm going to guess, they've got a back-to-back here. They're playing in Detroit tomorrow, and I'm going to guess Reimer will probably get the start in that one tomorrow. So we'll see. Lots of interesting things going on in Senators land right now.
Yeah. Well, did you see the first practice back with Allmark. There were people commenting that the players weren't tapping him on the pads and all that. Like,
Yeah, you know, there's probably going to be a lot of that. People will be looking to read whatever they can into whatever body language might be out there and comments that everybody makes. So it's going to be interesting. But I mean, let's face it, the team itself has been solid. And I know, I'm just getting ready to go in. I'll be doing the pre and the post game shows on 1200 today.
yes.
And, there's been times lately when on the post game show, people have been calling in and saying that it's time for the team to move on from Travis Green. The coaching hasn't been the issue here, and their underlying numbers are outstanding. They've improved 5-on-5. They're one
Oh,
of the
yeah.
top. Yeah, they're one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the league in those key offensive metrics, and even defensively in terms of the quality of chances they're giving up and expected goals against. The issue with this team has been the goaltending. It's been awful. They've got the last, the last place save percentage, 32nd in the league. So even when Omark's been here, he hasn't been getting the job done. I didn't have a problem with them, coming back with, rolling back with Merrilainen and Allmark for this season. Merrilainen was outstanding last year when they needed him.
Yeah, he was.
When Allmark got hurt right around Christmas and odd timing. I mean, this is the right around the same time he stepped away from the team this year. But Merrilainen went 8-3-1, I think, with 2 shutouts last year when he was thrust into the job because of injuries to Allmark and Forsberg.
Okay.
And he looked like he was a young goaltender that was ready to at least take the step to being a backup goaltender. And he struggled this year. Part of it has been the team in front of him, but not so much. Like, it's been Allmark and Merrilainen have not been good enough this year, and that's why they find themselves where they are in the standings.
Do you think the main reason, like, it could be just as simple as Allmark was struggling and he just wanted to get away from it and try to get a better, get his head together? Because
It
I
could
mean,
be. I mean, we've seen that. Boy, we've seen that with 2 or 3 goaltenders over the last
yeah,
few years. Like, every now and then, they just need an opportunity to clear their heads.
yeah,
And hopefully that's been the case, because they're going to need Allmark big time here if they're going to pull themselves out of the have not section of the standings and get
yeah,
back into playoff contention. It's that there's still most of half of a season left here. There's lots of time for them to do it. And like I've said, they've played well enough 5-on-5. The skaters have played well enough. They need the goaltending to answer the bell here down the last half of the season. And whether it's Allmark or Reimer, we haven't seen what Reimer has to offer yet. But somebody's going to have to step up here, and even if they had average goaltending, they'd be in a playoff spot
oh no,
right
for
now.
sure, for sure. The team's been playing well. It's just no, and I don't think you can. A goalie can make a coach look good, and a goalie can make a coach look bad.
No question, right? Yep.
What somebody's saying there, goalie problem. Whoops, goalie problem. We know nothing about that in Montreal.
Well, and
Yeah, well,
that's been a bit of a question for to a lesser extent, I guess.
right.
Because the Habs have been scoring enough goals to kind of score their ways out of a lot of their issues.
Yeah, yeah,
When Ottawa's had their tough stretches, it's because the offense has dried up, and the goaltending hasn't been good enough to make up for that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the other night they get 4 in the first period against the Rangers and go on to an 8-4 win. But that's not going to happen too often on too many nights.
Artemi Panarin, 3 points so far tonight, showcasing himself after the announcement that they're going to be getting rid of him probably. I don't know. People are asking if the Canadians should pick up,
Mm,
go after someone like that. I
yeah.
don't think. Uh, I think the Canadians need to add some size and physicality to their lineup more so than anything up front. What are your thoughts on that? You've seen the Habs. You get to see the Habs a fair bit, Chris. What?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody who does anything in the playoffs has always got that great physical third line, right? It's not even
Mhm.
necessarily the fourth line, it's that third line that can grind the other team down, that doesn't give up anything defensively, and ultimately chips in, a couple or three key goals during a playoff series. So yes, they could use some more size. They can use some more size up front. I think you can say that of just about any team, and that's
Yeah,
why I think about that third line for Tampa when the Lightning was so good. Who was it? It was
Goodrow,
Yanni Gourde, Barclay Goodrow. Um, who was the other guy? There's
Coleman.
three.
Was it Coleman?
Uh, yes, there you go. That's the three. And now it's no surprise that at this time of year, when you're starting to get into the home stretch and people are identifying, who are legitimate um, Stanley Cup contenders and who aren't, that you see Coleman's name coming up frequently now
Yeah.
and coming up in connection to the Habs, because it does sound like that would
Oh,
be the kind of,
yep.
veteran, dependable third line guy that you can use in any situation and
Yep.
just
Yep.
help your team be tougher to play against.
Well, the only time they've made the finals since '93, they had a line of Eric Stahl between Corey Perry and Yoel Armia,
There
and
you go.
they cycled the puck down low, kept
Yep,
the puck in the offensive zone, forechecked, were heavy, and the Canadians don't have that right now. And
right
I
on.
I made a proposal, like I I had a look, and it's funny, but it'd be revisiting a former Hab, just like with Deneau, but with Deneau, Evans, Kapanen, and Suzuki, you can't put a big physical line out there with those four centers because none of them are physical.
Right.
And I think personally, I would pursue trading Jake Evans and or I mean they aren't probably going to trade Deneau again. It'd be more Evans, but
Yeah.
I think Mike McCarron would be a really good add
Wow.
to
A
the.
repatriation of
Yes.
Mike McCarron.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's same thing with defense, right? Like you look at the teams that have been
Yeah.
successful, and they're not easy to come by, but you do get those guys with the big wingspan
Right.
who are effective on the blue line, who are great because of that size, being the box out, because the game gets more physical. And let's face it, there's fewer penalties called down low in the
Yep.
playoffs.
Yep.
And even that run that the run that the Habs had in
Edmondson,
21.
Sherratt, and Weber. Right.
Yep. Yep. So, ideally you want to be able to have one of that type of guy to have on each of your pairs. I think of even those great Devils teams back in the day that had, Scott Stevens and Colin White and Ken Danico, like, three
Oh yeah.
great, tough, stay-at-home type guys to anchor, the likes of Niedermeyer and Rafalski. Those great combinations of a good, tough, stay-at-home guy with a great offensive player.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wonder about the Habs size on the blue line as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, let's face it. I always like the group, as many people do. I think Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa, Montreal together, because they all kind of have been embarking on the rebuild at the same time. You
Right.
can't get all of the pieces that you need all at once. Um, it feels like
Yeah.
Buffalo. Just listening to the Buffalo game as I was driving here to the rink, they lost in overtime to Minnesota today, so they still pick up a point. It looks like they've turned a corner.
Yes.
Detroit obviously has taken a big step forward. I still feel like Montreal's a little bit farther ahead on their rebuild than Ottawa, Buffalo and Detroit, just because those other franchises have all been at it for 6 or 7 and many
Right.
more years than that in Buffalo. And you look at how far Montreal has come in 4
Short
years or
span.
so.
Right.
So, I think out of all those fan bases, the Montreal Canadiens fans should probably feel pretty good about where their team is at right now.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned here saying I'd pass on Coleman due to the bidding war that will raise
Yeah,
his price tag. Every contender will want him. That's a fair point. Although I would maybe argue that, the Canadians have not been buyers for a decade
right.
or more,
Yes.
and
Yep.
they've got all these extra assets. They've got one of the best, I think, players outside the NHL. They're always right at the top. So I think they can afford to spend a little extra this time around,
Right.
to maybe try to add a couple of players because the East, I mean, hey, they're what, 3-4 points out of being the top team in the East. I
Yeah.
think it's wide open this year with unless Barkov and Kachuk come back and the Panthers, get but they may not even make the playoffs this year.
Right.
So I just think that there's an opportunity for a lot of teams to win the East this year. If you get in there, I don't see any team running away with it in the East this year.
And isn't it interesting that in the coming days and weeks that we're going to see which teams, make the decision? Just what you're talking about. It's wide open. And maybe we're not as far along in our rebuild as we'd like to be considered a contender. Maybe you're a year short or 2 years short. Maybe that's the way it felt going into this season. But like you
Yeah.
said, now you look at the Eastern Conference and you start thinking like, hey, maybe this could be our time
Yeah.
because it is so wide open. My reservation at this point with the Canadians making that decision at this point is the goaltending. Like I'm just not sure if you've got
Yeah, I know.
I'm just not
I
sure
know.
if you've got a goalie there that you're going to look at him and say, is he going to be able to beat, a Vasilevsky in a series? Is he going to be able to beat a Bobrovsky
Yeah.
if the
However,
Panthers make it? But
I'm
I mean, teams have shown you can make it without having a top flight goalie, as long as you got it.
Anti-Ranta,
Oh,
Anti-Ranta, Chris
Niemi. I
Osgood
mean,
before, you
yeah,
know,
there's been a few.
Cam Ward. Like I can think of a few through the years that sort of, they catch lightning in a bottle.
Darcy
If
Kemper.
yeah,
Like, you
if
look at it and
but I
I
get your
just I,
point.
right. And but personally, looking at it from the Montreal Canadiens point of view, I wouldn't have a problem if they didn't do anything and just looked at
No,
this as being like, you know what, we're gonna let our kids be in the heat of a playoff race. Let them again experience, that the
yeah,
wonderful experience you get in making the playoffs and have an opportunity to play. And I wouldn't have a problem with them saying, you know what, it's not quite our time right now. Let's save our assets for another year, and maybe
yeah,
next year with another year under the belt for Slavkovsky and Demidov and all the other great kids, Hudson.
yeah,
Maybe say another year's experience. Let's save our assets, and maybe we're going to be in a better position next year. I don't know. Do you look at the East and thinking that the East is going to change a heck of a lot now for the next couple of years? I think we're
right,
looking at a lot of parity in the Eastern Conference for the next couple of years. I don't see anybody running
right.
away with it.
But
Not like the
can,
West right now. Like you look at the West, there's a way bigger separation between the top teams and the
absolutely,
bottom teams in the Western Conference. And
which
to
is
me,
why
that would
I go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Which is why I think a team like Nashville would be willing to, trade a McCarron
Right.
or what have you, right? They're
Yep.
not going to beat even if they make the playoffs. They got to get through Dallas, Dallas, Minnesota, and team
Colorado.
called Colorado.
Yeah.
Um, just to your point about Monty, the last 2 years was fifth, top five 1 year and top 3 in goals or saves above expected. So he was really good the previous 2 years.
Yeah.
And if he is back, he has looked good the last 3 since he came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
If he can be as good as he was last year, if they can add a couple of pieces here, you know, I don't disagree with what you said. Like, I wouldn't have a problem with them not making moves, but if they do, and they're good moves, and they get bigger, I think the best thing for this young group would be to win more than one game at playoff time. Like
Right.
last year, they played 5 games. I think the best thing would be for them to play at least 2 series, like
Right.
the
For
next
sure.
step, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that regard, I think they should make some moves and in a wide open East with, especially this year with like Barkov, and because I think going into the year you thought, well, Florida's it's going to be tough to beat Florida, but with those two missing most of the year, maybe not being 100%, maybe them not even making the playoffs, I think
Yeah.
there is a window here where, you know, you get the right pieces. Monty keeps playing like he has the last few games. Maybe the Canadians could win the East this year.
Yeah. I still feel like that's a bit of a stretch for the things that you said.
Sure.
I think about the smaller down the middle. You'd have to address that. The lack of experience. Hopefully, you accrue more of that with another postseason appearance. To me, if you're going to make a move and you're going to spend your assets this year, the guys that you're going to bring in, I feel like they can't be rental players. That you need to bring guys in that are going to still be part of your plan next year, because you might wind up having the same challenges next year that we're talking about. You want to be bigger on the back end. You want to be bigger down the middle. You want to add some
Yeah.
experience. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would, if I'm the Montreal Canadiens, if this is the time to spend assets for just rent a players in the hopes that maybe you're going to be able to win a couple more games in the playoffs. I would save those for. I would save those for next year when everybody's got another year's experience. And I feel like the odds are more in the Montreal Canadiens' favor a year from now than they are right now.
Well, I'm looking at trading Jake Evans for Mike McCarron, something, and if you have to throw into something small, you're trading a player for a player, right?
Yeah, that's not.
You bring up
that's not setting you back in terms
no,
of your war chest that you
as
might
far
have at the trade deadline.
and as far as a big defenseman adding to the lineup, there's one down on the farm that was a top 5 pick, and they typically, by the time they're 21, they at least get a look. And I would like them to call up Reinbacher to see if he's ready some point over the next two months. And I personally think that that's one of the guys that could help them at playoff time.
Yeah.
He's big. He's very good defensively. I've been keeping a pretty close eye on him this year. That's a piece they need. And also, like next year, you talk about them needing that next year. Well, that's one of the guys that will address that need on defense without them needing to trade for it, right?
Yeah.
So, if you can trade get a McCarron, it won't cost you any young assets, I don't think, because he's a UFA to be.
Yeah.
You also, if they had some success at playoff time, maybe you could re-sign McCarron too if they still needed it, right?
Yeah.
But all it cost you was Jake Evans. They've got other centers. They've got Hage coming up, who down the road it can fill a spot anyways, maybe even this year. But and then you'd have to think, well, okay, do they go after someone like Coleman, and do they? So to your point, though, it may be a year early to look at that, and not, because he'd probably be fairly expensive, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think there would be a bidding war, and maybe you hold off on something like that But I wouldn't mind them grabbing a guy like McCarron, and at least I think it gives them a better chance of at least winning one playoff round
Right.
this year than if they go with the same group again, get beat up again in the playoffs, and that this young core doesn't get any more playoff experience than they got last year.
Right. And I know, who knows, like with as wide open as the conference is this year. You know what? If Montembeault continues the upward trend and does look like the guy whose numbers you rhymed off there over the last couple of years, if he has a really, really great second half of the season here, I don't know, maybe that changes.
Yeah.
Maybe it changes the mindset of management as you get closer to the trade deadline. So this is one of the most interesting years, I think, in the
Oh,
salary cap era,
yeah.
particularly in the Eastern Conference, because it is so close. And typically by this time, remember when everybody used to talk about, oh, you pretty much know the playoff teams by American Thanksgiving, and you might see one or two maybe you see one or two teams shift in and out of a playoff spot. At this point, with the
Oh,
way teams can catch fire, like look what Buffalo's done.
yeah.
What do they have? They have points out of what, 17 or 18 of their last 19 games, I think.
Insane.
You look at the run Detroit went on. Tampa's been on a great run. These teams are all showing the ability, to catch fire, and go on these runs. I could see if Ottawa gets the goaltending, I could see Ottawa going on a stretch where they win like 8 out of 10
Yeah.
or 10 out of 12. So this to me is one of the most compelling seasons, because here we are at past the midpoint of January. We still don't know who's going to make the playoffs. We're getting an idea now, but the two wildcard spots to me are still pretty much wide open in the East. And I feel like there's a bunch of teams that if they caught fire, it would completely change their mindset from being sellers to being buyers at the trade deadline.
Yeah. No, it's going to be so interesting to see what teams end up doing, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's
I
just
think it's going to be a great little sprint now from here to the Olympics, and then everybody will be able to kind of catch their breath during the Olympic break. And then what have we got? Like 8 or 9 days from the end of the Olympic break until the trade deadline,
yeah.
and then it's going to be a crazy sprint to the finish. Like I think this is shaping up to be one in the East anyway, shaping up to be one of the best. One of the best seasons we've seen in a while.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Any predictions on what we're going to see tonight?
No idea. I mean, both these teams have been so unpredictable. I mean, for the
Yeah.
most part, the Habs have been really, really good. I mean, what have they been? What have they got, the fourth or fifth best record in the league since December 1st or whatever it is?
Yeah.
And Ottawa's been so inconsistent because the goaltending's been inconsistent. You can directly tie Ottawa's inconsistency to the goaltending. So it's the 30th anniversary of the rink here in Ottawa tonight, and it's
Okay.
the 30 years to the day that they opened the building playing the Montreal Canadiens, when it
Oh,
was back
really?
back yeah back when it was the Palladium. I want to say that was a game that I was there. I should remember. I believe it was a game the Canadians won 3-0.
Okay.
And I think the first goal scored in this building was by Kovalenko.
Kovalenko?
Yeah.
He
So
scored the
yeah,
last one at the Bell Center and the first one at the
last one at the Forum.
or at, I mean
Didn't
at
he
the
score
Forum, you
yeah,
mean?
the
Yeah.
last one at the Forum and the first one at the I guess what was then the Palladium. So
Ma-
yeah, it
made the
should be.
Patrick
Yeah,
Roy trade all worthwhile, eh?
sure. The best line I can remember being at the airport that day when Patrick Waugh and Mike Keane were leaving, and all the bodies were coming in from Colorado. And I remember Mike Keene's line was fantastic. He was the captain, of course, and he said, "Around here, the C means see you later." I thought that was like that was such a good line that day. So yeah, it'll be a little bit of a walk down memory lane, and I'm sure on the pregame show, which I'm going to leave you now because I got to get in
Yes.
there and get ready for that. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a walk down memory lane, and it's interesting how much of a role the Montreal Canadiens have played in so many of the great moments in this building, starting
Yeah.
with the first game, but also remember 2013, the line brawl here, when
Yep.
not to bring up bad memories for
Ryba.
Montreal Canadiens fans, but when Ottawa defeated Montreal in that playoff series, and yeah, the
And in the
Greiba hit,
fights.
the Greiba hit, the Paul McLean with the player 61 comment. The
Well, it's why Michael McCarron got drafted by the Canadiens in the
there you
first
go.
round too.
Well, and it's why the Ottawa Senators traded for McDermott, who's probably not going to play tonight, was because the way the Canadians physically handled the Senators in the exhibition games in Quebec
Right.
City. They went out and got Curtis McDermott for that, but it doesn't look like he's going to play tonight. So I'm going to assume that they're going to stick to hockey, and I'm expecting that it'll be a hell of a show.
Yeah. Well. So does this mean friggin' another late puck drop then tonight?
No, I don't think they're doing any kind of.
Oh, they aren't. Okay.
No, I don't think they're doing any kind of pregame stuff. There'll just be probably a lot of highlights from the 30 years shown. I'm sure during the TV timeouts and stuff like that. But no, I
Yeah.
don't think there's any kind of pregame ceremony.
Okay. All right, CJ. Well, I appreciate you taking the time before you go into the rink for the pregame. You can catch Chris Stevenson Media. He does some great stuff. Golf coverage. If you're into golf, he's one of the best. But he does post-game, pre-games. You're on. Are you regular on TSN right now? 1200. Like it seems
I'm
like
the
when
bull.
I
I'm, you know what? I'm the old gray bullpen guy. Whenever they need somebody to come in and warm a
AJ
seat,
needs you.
yeah. Whenever they need somebody to warm a seat, then
Well,
I'll do
it,
that. So pre and
cool.
post on TSN 1200 today. Pre and post on TSN 1200 tomorrow. Another massive game for Ottawa because they're in Detroit
Yeah.
tomorrow at 5
Go
o'clock.
Sens,
So
go.
should be a great weekend.
I'm at
There you
least
go.
cheering for them for one game this weekend.
One
So
game. Yeah. All right, my friend.
okay, thank you, CJ. We'll see you soon,
Okay. Good seeing you too. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye. Chris Stevenson, folks. Great man. He's if you don't know already, CJ is a Montreal native. And he got a writing job with the Ottawa Sun, it was the Ottawa Herald at the time. And he covered the Habs. This was before the Sens were back in the NHL, and he so he used to cover the Habs for the Ottawa paper. Stole my job, son of a gun. I took journalism at Algonquin in Ottawa, and yeah, him and Bruce Garriock ended up stealing my jobs. I was a little too late. I'd pass on Coleman due to the bidding war, which was a good point. We'll see. You know, I wouldn't grossly overpay for him. Luke Shen, an option. Yeah. I guess perhaps get Braden Shen and Luke Shen, as somebody pointed out. Simon. Grit, size, and winner. Yeah. Toronto tried that a couple years ago. It didn't work out too well with Luke. It's not necessarily that the East is wide open because it's weak. It's because all the teams are strong. True, but Montreal is one of those strong teams, right? I love our team. I'm pretty sure we will make the playoffs, but I doubt this group makes it past round one. Not a hope in hell, somebody said the other day. It's imperative for the Habs to make the playoffs this year for progression of this young core. Yeah. We have 8 picks in 2026 and every pick in every round each year thereafter. Yes. No, no, I'm not a huge fan of trade deadline deals either, but when you're a team that is at the top of the standings, you have to change something on the team to maybe do some damage in the playoffs. And it's fair to say that Montreal needs to get bigger and more physical. I'm not proposing, Francois, that they go after top line rental, right? Or a top 6. Like typically teams make deals, they're looking for players that cost quite a bit. I am proposing that they go after Michael McCarron, and that won't cost you hardly anything. So why would you not do that if it was possible, right? You don't not do it because, you don't make trade deadline deals. No, you don't spend a first round pick and your top prospect for a top 6 UFA to be. That's not what I'm proposing. I think that's not what they need anyway. What they need is size, physicality, and that can be bought without spending much in the way of assets. I don't think so. Simon, I want to see Reinbacher a few games this year, but I hope he will play big minutes in Laval in the playoffs. Well, ideally, he plays like 3 rounds with the Canadians in the playoffs. He's going to be part of the taxi squad. When they expand the roster, Montreal, Reinbach will be one of the guys that's up if they make the playoffs, I think. I think he'd be in the lineup, actually, but we'll see. What is the Habs' biggest need right now in terms of an upgrade? Will it be winger to play with Colton or number tops? Yeah. Ooh, you're looking to get banned there. Darren Drager said something about the Habs going after a 2C. I don't believe it. Kent Hughes said at the time, they've got Hage coming in and Kapanen's more than done the job in the number 2 center. That line is just cooking. So do they need to replace Kapanen? No, absolutely not. And they've got Hage coming. I think it's BS. This rumor thrown out by Drags that they're going for a 2C. Kent Hughes said the exact opposite. Like when you asked, Kapanen, second line center, no doubt. So it doesn't make sense that they're going for a 2C. I don't believe it. And, the only way I could think that perhaps they go for a 2C is if it's a big physical one as well. And typically that's not a 2C. Be the best way I could answer that. Size and grit might need to come from trades because players from next draft won't be here for 3 or 4 years. Yeah, you're not answering that in this year's draft. Hage will be on the line with Suzuki and Caulfield. Possibly. Might be Doc. Maybe if Texier keeps rolling, maybe it's him. Okay, what's this about prepaid beers? Just because, Grant, appreciate your commitment. Have a brew tonight. Hopefully goes down better with a good result. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Oh, Fort George. Hi, Grant. Go Habs, go. Hey, man. Thank you. Great idea, Glenn. Prepaid beers for the Habs next win. Oh, you guys know. We need a young Douglas Murray type defenseman. Yeah, but even slower, eh? Douglas Murray. Oh my God. Oh, Turtle. Myrtle the Turtle back on defense. So, CJ was kind of playing devil's advocate there a little bit, right? To what I had said, but I think, we need two monsters, one for the top six, one for the bottom six. Then let's go. Well, get Doc in there on the top line. McCarron on the fourth. Then you've got a big guy, physical guy on every line, right? You don't need more than that. You need a balance. Would Coach MSL be amenable? Ooh. Get out your dictionaries, boys. I know what it means. Actually, we got an educated group here. Most people will know. Would MSL be Jack is physical on the back end, but is on a short lease? No. McCarron doesn't take a lot of unnecessary penalties, actually. The Wild just beat the Sabres, yes. I know what you're saying, Angelo, but I don't think it's short leash more about getting beat and turning over pucks and taking bad penalties on occasion. But McCarron doesn't take a lot of bad penalties. You look at his minutes, it's mostly, hitting a guy too hard or fighting, basically. If they don't want Evans, what else would you offer? Yeah, draft pick, prospect, another player. Yeah, I would. Yeah. No, I'd propose Evans, but yeah. I would consider, several things, right? Engstrom, they might be interested in Engstrom. I know some people say, no, not Engstrom, but, I don't see a spot for Engstrom in the future with the Habs. So something like that might interest Nashville, and maybe they'd even, I don't know, throw back a third-round pick or something, right? McCarron and a third for Engstrom. Would I wait till the trade deadline? Well, I don't know. I mean, whenever they'd be interested in doing the deal, going to need Blade tonight. Hope he's in the lineup. I agree. Doc is all smoke and mirrors this year. Doc was good before he got injured. He was better this year, I think. He got in better shape. They said they want to be careful with Doc with the broken ankle, yeah. Yeah. We have right about 100 people on here right now. Not everybody's frig. Football games are about 4 hours long. I can't watch a whole game anyway. Miss about half of it. Kent Hughes would stab Jake Evans in the back by trading him in the first year of a 4-year contract. Stab him in the back. Oh, God. I'm not even going to address that. I think your mic may be up too high. How's that? There's a reason why Evans does not have a no trade clause. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Look, it's not. You not think players that sign contracts get traded? There's players that sign contract and get traded an hour later. You know, the fact of the matter is that he signed a contract. Stab him in the back. Like, how is that stabbing him in the back? He signed a contract, and he's not playing nearly as well as he did before he signed the contract. So is he stabbing the Habs in the back? I mean, you can look at that two ways. Michael, you come up with, I don't know, like you just you get a little too forceful with your opinions sometimes, like and put it. You didn't have to word it that way. You know what I mean? Like, it's not stabbing him in the back. Come on. I wasn't thrilled with the Danault trade, to be honest. No. But 'tis what it is. I didn't mind it at the time. And again, if a club can afford to give up a second-round pick, it's the Canadiens. Hugo must have made Evans aware of the fact that there are a lot of centers coming up the pipeline, and maybe you will not finish the contract here. Hey, we know it's a business. It freaking. Do you know how many players within a year of them signing a contract get traded? I could name dozens. He was not a fan favorite. Oh, so? Because fans are impatient and not very smart when it comes to draft picks. He's not the same player he was 10 years ago. And half that was on the media too. French media especially. Oh, why didn't they pick Laurent Dauphin or Valentin Zikov from the Q? Why do they always pick Americans instead of Quebecers? And it was this, that, and it was getting drilled into the fans' minds. And, you know, here's a first-round pick, and he's not starring with the Canadiens within 2 years. He's a bust. And that's more ignorance than it is anything else. Hey, the minute that Mike McCarron comes into the lineup and he nails somebody from behind the net like he has all year, trust me, the fans won't be booing. They'd be cheering their asses off. Habs fans love physicality. It gets not the same response as the goal, obviously, but it gets a lot of favorable feedback. The fans love it, and the Canadiens aren't providing enough of it. Believe me, this, it's been many years since McCarron was in the Habs organization. He came back and he pounds the crap out of somebody, nails a big defenseman that he's even bigger than in the corner. The fans will warm up to him in an awful hurry. You can be sure of that. Badly developed. He's a much better player now. Yeah, exactly. How's the sound now, guys? Is it okay? No Lafreniere, yeah. Simon saying McCarron's not that good either. 12th, 13th forward at best. Big physical penalty killing center is value is probably 10th. I'd say he'd be the 10th best forward on the Habs. 10th best forward doesn't cost you an arm and a leg, right? but a 10th best forward that is really needed and would be very valuable. So you want to call him 12th, 13th forward, semantics, fine. Personally, I think your fourth line center is might even be more valuable than your second best third line winger, but you can argue that all you want. He's certainly the most valuable piece on the fourth line, so that automatically makes you 10th best forward. So 54% in the faceoffs, Simo. Second among all NHL centers in hits. A really good penalty killer. The top penalty killer in ice time on the 13th best penalty kill in the NHL. That's not your 13th forward. Not in my mind. 6'6" can beat the crap out of us that nobody else up front can do. That's not a 13th forward in my books. Bills fan since early 90s. Go Bills. I played football because players like Thurman Thomas. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, Marv Levy, former CFLer, came and they got Cousineau, who was with the Owls too. I wasn't an Owls fan. I kind of thought that was cool. And then, I started to cheer for the Bills and those 4 freaking Super Bowls in a row, and they didn't win any. I'd like to see Buffalo get a sports championship. I think it's long overdue. Got robbed with the Hull goal in the crease there when they made the finals. Buffalo Sabres. And I think Josh Allen is a class human being. I like Josh Allen a lot. Pulling for him. And I'm going to go 5 more minutes here, folks, and then football time. I think most people will be signing off anyway. And I'm starting to lose my voice, and I need some for tonight. Thank you all for doing the double, for those that did the double. I hate the freaking Sens. There you go. Dig was a great pick. Oh, wasn't he? Great conversation with CJ. Thank you. Chris is a great man. Amazing. 33 years to the day that the Palladium opened up, as they were originally called. Yeah, trading for McCarron isn't going all in exactly. And I think he's what's needed too. I'm glad a few of you agreed with me here. I know, 8 years ago, this would have been laughed out of, I'd have been a laughing stock, but because McCarron was he was a whipping boy. First round bust. Is there a reason Reinbacher's producing less? Oh, I'm not too worried about production's not what they need on Montreal's blue line. They need size, mobility. That was a traumatic season with Douglas Murray. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Speedster. One of Bergey's many, many, many moves trying to get defensemen in his image. How many did he friggin' go through? It was crazy. How about drafting him? Yeah, he's on the second power play. Yeah. He's got a good shot, too. I'm not too worried about... Part of Reinbacher is because they're not as scoring as many goals as last year. They got rid of a bunch of guys, right? They've had injuries, they've had call-ups to Montreal. Laval's not scoring as much. and he's Engstrom has gone on the first power play, and that's fine. I think they're showcasing him, but Reinbacher, I think, will be even better when he's playing with NHL players. I think he'll play even better at the NHL level than in the AHL, and he'll get some points passing it to quality players. Reinbacher and Dak, they are in perfect health. I'm fragile with my permanent ACL tear and grade 4 arthritis. Well put. They are unlucky, not fragile. I agree. Not big on the injury prone tag. If you listen between what he's saying, he's smart, knowing where things are at. He'll always put the team as precedent for his personal feelings. Straight up respect. Yeah. Typing from a keyboard. Most injuries are due to bad luck. Absolutely. I don't like the fragile. I prefer Not Fragile by BTO to Fragile by Yes. Actually, I like both those albums. Yeah, well, there's sports going on here. I guess I better get rolling. We're down to 82 here now. I'll go through a few more, but I'm still shocked by the fact that you would trade Edmund for McCarron and a third. Oh, here we go again. Yeah, Engstrom, who will never play on Montreal's blue line. Perish the thought. Sixth in friggin' depth chart on the left side. Oh, how could you ever trade? Yeah. Because you might want to win now. Might as well trade Evans while he still has some value. Yep. Yeah, well, there you go. Montreal 7th for hits in the league. Not too bad for a non-physical team. Yeah. But it's hits, Cole Caulfield hits. I'll take a Michael McCarron hit over a Cole Caulfield hit any day. Of course, Wolfie has to come up with... He's got to always find the argumentative angle, eh, Wolfie? There, you're my man, Wolfie. Keep me honest, buddy. Oh, better late than never. Sorry there. Yeah, well, okay. Thanks for the donation there, but I do have to leave, eh? You're not going to talk me into staying, Brian. I appreciate it, though. Yes, you're late. Yeah, if you can upgrade on Jake Evans, I'm all for it. Yes. McCarron for line A. Yeah. Yeah, the other... Don't regard what the other team might want to do. I wish that's how it worked, friends. The fact you compared him to Boyle means I take him in a heartbeat. Well, that's the type of player he is. My opinion, we need more size on defense. Yeah, well, Reinbacher's coming soon. Player like McCarron is greatly needed. Yeah. Josh Allen, the good old Irish kid. Jack McBain would fit the Habs, yes, and Jack McBain won't be moved by. Again, it's got to be a player that's available, and Jack McBain's not available. Yeah. Is McCarron better than Veleno? Oh my God. If grit is a desire, call up Columbus asking about Olivier. Go big or go home. Yeah. Hey, two different albums, right? When I was a kid, I had Not Fragile, and actually my sister bought it and I played it all the time. I'm always going to have a soft spot for Randy Bachman and good old Canadian rock and roll band. But yeah, as I grew older and got into prog rock, and I mean, Roundabout is by far the best song of the two albums. But yep, two great albums. As always, thank you for the show, Grant. Hey, my pleasure. And thanks, Brian. I appreciate the Johnny Come Lately donation. Was that disrespectful, Wolfie? I just find you disrespectful at times. So yeah, you're contentious. I just it you know. I guess when there's 6 people who are constantly contentious, after a while, it's just I get combative back. Sorry if you took it the wrong way. You can definitely trade Engstrom, but you can get more than McCarron, is all I'm saying. Yeah. That's why I suggested the 3rd round pick back. What was Engstrom? Where was Engstrom drafted? 3rd round? So you're getting back a pick that maybe could be as good as Engstrom and McCarron. I don't think that's I think that's, I mean, obviously you don't think McCarron holds any value whatsoever if that's, if you're looking at it that way, but I respectfully disagree with that. No, Wolfie, it's because you always have your opinions are always, you're the one that's not calming down now. You have a tendency to be a little voracious with your opinions. It's not because you disagree. It's because you disagree a little bit too voraciously for my liking at times. Is that you can disagree with that because you disagree with most things I say. So is that cool? That's all. That's all I'm saying. You just tend to get a little too aggressive with your disagreements. Disagree all you want, but we're trying to have a respectful yeah, okay, whatever. Bye. See, those are the guys I just want it to be civil on here. And I don't know. I find him I find that he gets a little too wound up. And as you can see by his reaction to it, I don't think I was wrong. Anyway, that's life. Ottawa gets whacked tonight. Yep, they do. Glenn, you got to get going, eh? All right, my friend. You roll on. Not available is just code for make me an offer I can't refuse. Yippers. Let's smash them sends. Yes. Yeah, thank you. I let somebody be, aggressively disagree with me several times, and if I keep, if I keep seeing the pattern, I'll remark on it. And if they, if they can't handle it, that's fine. I'm not going to miss them. McCarron just didn't move the needle. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's exactly what's needed, though. All grit players. Well, we're talking about one grit player. So, not saying get 12 McCarrons here, Kai. I'm saying trade for one guy, and it's not going to move the needle as far as giving assets back either. So, I don't understand what you're saying there, because it won't. It's not going to send them from pretender to contender. Not saying that, but it certainly give them a lot better chance of winning at playoff time, and that's all. And the cost would be minimal. So I don't, I don't see why it would be something that I think that the Canadian, put it this way, Kent Hughes is saying that they need to get more physical. So Kent Hughes is seeking a player like McCarron. Whether it's McCarron that they get or not, I don't know. But anyway, the football game is now on. End of the Rocket game. Don't need a McCarron. We have a guy in the minors that's not fast enough yet that has to get as fast as McCarron to make the lineup. Well, Florian Jacki is not in McCarron's league right at the moment, Sredinsky. Down the road, maybe he will be, but he's kind of like McCarron was at 21 years of age. Well, we've got full-blown growing McCarron now that would be cheap. McCarron, believe it or not, Sredinsky right now skates better than than Florian, and he's bigger, quite a bit bigger. He's tougher. I wouldn't want to see Florian fighting McCarron right now. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, but anyway, I could be wrong with that, but I appreciate the opinion. Thank you, Brian. You just gifted 5 more memberships to people. Size and toughness are different. Yeah. Well, gotta hide the credit card. Yeah. Yeah. McCarron has size and toughness, and he hits frequently, and he knocks people down. If you got a chance to watch that first video there, he was crunching people pretty well. He gets to them quicker than Florian does at this point too. His pace is better. He's got more stamina. Hey, 10 years of training, right? Since he was drafted. Florian's had a couple. He's still got to make some progression, and it'll come. But right now, McCarron's a lot better NHL player than Florian Jacki would be. I think we saw it. His first game he was running on adrenaline and he looked okay, but by then it was by the third or fourth game, you could see that he's just not quite ready, right? Hey, folks, before I leave, just remind you here, visit logsend.com. Check out their website. It's really great reclaimed wide plank flooring. They dive down to the bottom of the Ottawa River, find big logs, bring them to the surface, cut them into wide plank flooring that you won't see wider flooring. It's really beautiful stuff. And they're the best as far as I'm concerned if you are looking for flooring. If it's good enough for this guy, Yvan, it's good enough for you, folks. Yvan Cornway got all his floors done from Logs End, so I highly recommend that you look him up. Kayasusa, I get it. McCarron could be useful pickup. Just that my issue is there's with the addition without subtraction. Right. Well, my proposal, and I guess maybe you missed it, was Evans for McCarron. No, Liam didn't say I have another sponsor. He has a sponsor for his show, but no, McCarron is a beast we need. As always, thanks for the show. All right, folks, I said I'd be another 5, and it's been about 15. But you know what? I got some more support in that time, so I guess it was worthwhile, right? Pretty sure you are the second sponsor. Yeah, really. That's funny. We got another Michael Hage game tonight. I hope he racks up some points. Yeah, I'll try to get his highlights for tonight after the game. Join me after the Habs Sens game tonight. I'll try to get Hage's highlights from last night. Bring it on. We still got 62 people, but people are leaving, so some football to watch. End of the Rocket game. I still haven't eaten anything yet today, and it's 4:49, so I best go. I had a banana so far today, so might be time. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have yourselves fine the rest of the afternoon. Hage wears number 96 double nines. No, 19. Always number 19. Okay. 99. Anyway, on that note, forgot to take Yvan off the screen there, but hey, you could pretend that it was Yvan talking to you for a few minutes there. Poutine time. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, guys. I could just keep answering live chat all day, but I gotta go. See you after the Habs game. I'll be on right after. And thanks everyone for tuning in again. Have a good day.